Alrighty, Grand Rising, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Library of Awakening. Today, we are going to be diving into a book that is not just meant to be read, it is meant to be realized. We're going to be diving into the Temple of Wotan. I'm pretty sure that's how you say it, right? It's Wotan, like a V, but with a W. I might be mistaking. If not, it's pronounced Wotan, but that just sounds not how you pronounce it correctly. um, isn't just a philosophy. So this book isn't just like a philosophy. It's a reminder of something that most people have forgotten. And it's that your reality is not happening to you. It's being shaped through you. Okay. And it's being shaped through your thoughts. It's being shaped through your focus, through your awareness. And this book challenges you to take full responsibility of your life, to step away from the noise of the unconscious masses and to recognize the true power that you've been given. And that is the mind, your thoughts. Because once you understand that thought directs energy and energy shapes your reality, all the things that Nikola Tesla was talking about, right? You start to see the world differently. So today, we're not just going to read this book, we're going to be breaking it down, questioning it, and seeing how it applies to real life, real decisions, and real growth. So let's dive in. I want to start off by reading you this chapter. So this sets the precedence and the tone for people that may not otherwise have read the book. All right. We have some community members on the call that have read the book, and we'll dive into a conversation with them on their specific notes. Maybe I can read one of my highlights after reading this chapter. They can read one of theirs, and we can have open dialect on the conversation on why that was so important for that community member. What spoke to them about that portion of the book? And it's not what I'm reading, it's their own portions, what they did in the homework that we gave in the private community. So I want to hear from you guys that are on the call. Let's start off by reading this chapter to set the tone for people to understand the breadth and depth of this book for who haven't read it. All right. So this chapter is called, I'm pretty sure it's Hamingja. I might be pronouncing that incorrectly, but that's what it looks like. It starts off with a Carl Jung um, quote, and it says, "The inner voice," or excuse me, first of all, the chapter is called The God Self. The inner voice is a voice of a fuller life, of a wider, more comprehensive consciousness. That is why in mythology, the birth of a hero or the symbolic rebirth coincides with sunrise. For the growth of personality is synonymous with an increasing of self-awareness. Yo, Carl Jung was so fire.
Super fire, bro.
Dude, you know what's so crazy? When I wrote my book, I read a lot of him. Like when I wrote my book back in 2019, I was like influenced by this guy. Like he changed my life. And all his books are in our Discord, by the way. Like he's got so many good books.
Bro, when I be working out, I'll listen to his audiobooks on YouTube. Like yesterday, I did chest workout, and usually I'd be listening to some music to get pumped up, but Carl Jung was pumping me up. Well, what he was saying to any normie, that shit would be mad boring to them probably, but for me, I love it.
I'm not gonna look for my book right now. I don't remember what the heck happened to my bookshelf. I gotta reorganize it. But yeah, bro, I agree, phenomenal. So I like that they started off with that. All right, to continue. For the same reasons, most heroes are characterized by solar attributes, and that is important. Solar attributes, okay? And the moment of birth of their greater personality is known as illumination. And so these individuals that talk about the Illuminati and all this stuff, they don't understand that they were a solar cult, Illuminati, illumination, all these things. And so this is just, it's very important because Carl Jung was very tapped into these things. Etymology is extremely important, understanding the verbiage and how things were, constructed over time with different languages and pieced together to mean certain things, and then combined it to make the English language. And, you know, it's, they're spells. You're literally commanding spells when you speak, right? And those
Yeah.
spells are energy and they come from thoughts.
And if you write it in cursive, you are writing a curse.
Yeah. Behind behind the veil. of our earthbound reality. Mind you, again, I'm going to read this, and if I stutter on words or can't pronounce something, remember behind our mythologies, religions, and individual personality, there exists at the very core of our being the God self, or what the ancient Aryans referred to in the Eddas as our Hamingja or Hemanja. Again, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm pretty sure that's how you say it. Looks like how you say it. This divine influence of the higher dimensions is innate with the soul of man. At times, it serves us very much like an interposing protector. Had we not the ability to possess this inherent element within our being, both individually and collectively, mankind's future would be hopeless and his own short life meaningless and pointless. That is powerful. Without this ability, we'd be nothing, right? Without this Hamingja, we'd be nothing. That's why this chapter spoke to me because I was like, wait, what? This is a word I've never heard before. And it's telling me that without it, mankind would be in despair. It literally says here, we build or destroy our own lives, and we allow or disallow our own lot in life. Our Hemanja and our ethnic gods are to help guide us, but is we alone, we, us, people, not person, people, we, we alone who must do the work and push onward. We are the ones. Nature comforts our passage in life, reflecting back to us the eternal wisdom for those with eyes to see. The most ancient of gods were born into our physical dimension through man's insatiable need to understand the forces of nature. Man is a cosmos in the miniature and is not divided from the great cosmos by any fixed limits. In Aryan Wotanism, the soul is known to be a timeless, eternal, spiritual, evolving entity. It is our body which binds us to the physical world. Did you read that? What the yo? When I read that, I was
Yeah.
like, yo, our body. Think about it. And how many times have I come to the realization? I don't know if you guys have in your life, but I'm literally just this soul that wants to escape, but I'm in this meat sack.
hmm hmm
Like I've realized in my awakening state that I can literally be anywhere that I want to be through the thought by meditation. And then I realize that my soul is in this place. How many times have you loved somebody or been fearful of something, or you've even a dream in a sense, and it's felt so real? I talked to Camilla about this the other day where I was like, have you ever had a dream where it's just nothing? Where your soul just disappears and time escapes you. You go to sleep and your sleep was so deep that you wake up and you have no recollection of what happened, no understanding of where you went. It was just nothingness. Okay. And we
Right.
can tap. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say in this book, the part I'm gonna read is basically he touches on sleep as a miniature death. Every time we go to sleep, it's a miniature death
Run.
to the big death, right? But this book is really dope because I feel like religion scares us. If you have the mindset entrapped just in religion, death scares you. It's like when you die, you're about to be judged, and if you don't pass, you're going into the pits of hell forever, right? Like, but hearing stuff like this, or reading stuff like this, and understanding that we are eternal beings, like infinite beings, yeah, bro, there's nothing to be scared of.
Yeah, I was back to my soul and the body thing because of what this says is that how many times have you, you know, I don't know, I'll just use love as an example that I'm assuming most of us can relate to. And if not, I'm sorry for telling this story and you're not being able to relate to it. Maybe you'll have that experience in the future. But have you ever felt like close your eyes and you love somebody and you like, I don't know, you can feel them when you're going to sleep and it gives you comfort. But you, again, your soul is there. It's experiencing this and giving you sensations, right? Which is confirmation that there's some external existence of that ongoing. Because if not, your brain wouldn't be able to receive that energy. So it's happening. But your body, is not there in that presence. It's just
Is the
literally your soul.
the heart receive the energy, not the brain?
Yo, I'm on another level. Tell me that it wasn't crazy just now. Like when you really detach yourself and realize that you can tap into that, that's powerful, you know? And you know what's crazy? Back to Nikola Tesla, because I mentioned his name. When I was studying his sleep cycles, which most of you guys know, I talk about how I've become so prone to not sleeping. And Aqua and Mr. Man have experienced that in real time. I'm pretty sure they told you guys on Zoom, like we were together and I went to bed at like 2 a.m. and woke back up at 5 and then got the rest of the day done. And just they were like, yo, what the fuck is this dude doing? Nikola Tesla is the guy who I learned this from, where he literally would create all his things, all these things that Nikola Tesla, if you've ever read his notes, were given to him through external entities that he would speak to in his dreams. And he would go to sleep for, you know, 2 hours, 3 hours at a time and just tap into his dreams and then wake up and start building the shit that was happening in his dreams. You know,
Yeah, that shit's wild, bro.
wild. And they murked
It's
that
like
dude.
it's like he was consciously sleeping low key. Like he was aware, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. The tales of Homer relate that the Olympian gods were able to transform into animals or humans at will, a process known as shapeshifting. This is also a familiar characteristic with the metaphysically speaking or our Iranian archetypal folklores functioning as astral forms within the consciousness and subconscious mind, projecting as composite entities comprised partially of human energy and divine energy. So it's saying that our ancestors, according to this book, I say our just in general because I don't know if they're yours or mine or the person over there or whatever, but according to them, they used to have the ability to do this and astral project themselves into animals and shapeshift. That's crazy. Such deities can be formed and animated within our individual abandoned by his Hamingja. And you know what's crazy about this study is you come to the realization that humans have only the ability to tap into a certain percentage of their brain capacity. I wonder what type of brain capacity these, because we've obviously, of course, been sedated. Our pineal gland has been calcified over the years. So, imagine a race of human beings, which I think some race of beings existed that had better and more superior technology than us. Imagine what their ability to tap into all this information was. Because it's clear as day that there's structures on the face of this planet, and call me crazy if you want, but you could just do the research where there are buildings all over the world that symbolize a global civilization existed. There's no way that over 3,000 years ago in South America and Egypt and Asia and freaking North America and Canada, all over the world, there are pyramidal structures all over the world. You telling me that every single civilization all over the world just so happened to just imagine pyramids and build them identically to each other, aligned with freaking the stars and the planets? Okay. It's just a coincidence. No, it was a global civilization that had means of communication and had an understanding of the universe to such a degree where they could literally tap into the universal energy, the ether, and benefit from it because it shows their technology was more superior, their buildings were more fortified. There is no structure on the world as well mathematically put together than the freaking pyramids of Giza. And it's crazy that the general populace thinks that it was just a bunch of mummies in that thing. No, it was a civilization, a global civilization that had an understanding of this, right? Of this to some extent. Now, what they had an understanding of, we're not here to debate, but the fact is that we, where we're at in this universe, in this world, in this plane of existence, can tap into it. It might not be as you know, instant for some of us because we're distracted by our daily lives and all this thing, all this stuff that they manipulate us to distract us. But if you take the time to understand this stuff, it becomes a part of you and you can really use it to benefit. It's pretty crazy. Let's read. It says, "Our bodies need the soul in order to continue living, but the soul exists even without the physical body. Our Hamangya calls up further spheres of existence. Each of these embodies the same process of self-realization, from the inarticulate, from the inarticulate but potent ground through the purifying fire of universal mind, which radiates from the absolute Godhead. For the most part, man is an irresponsible entity." It's very interesting. Ones who can peer through the thick coats of matter and act from within, experience that great gift of enlightenment and self awareness. So, do you guys remember before it was talking about? So, it's talking about self awareness right now. And it was talking about if we didn't have the ability to be self aware, we'd literally just be these mindless animals, just like, and I'm not saying that all animals are mindless animals. There's some animals, of course, like dolphins are extremely smart. We know that dogs, very, very intelligent. There's some dogs out there. I've even seen dogs that are like, but they're not self-aware. A dog can't wake up one day and be like, "Oh, I'm a dog. I'm gonna start talking. I'm gonna take over freaking, other dogs, and I'm gonna fight other dogs, and I'm gonna freaking build, weapons of mass destruction that kill other dogs. Oh, and then there's cats. I'm gonna go kill cats too, right? They're instinctual creatures. They can't self-aware. We, on the opposite hand, are the only creatures on this planet that have that ability. It's a gift, right? And most people abuse it. It's the truth. Most people abuse their ability to understand that you are a finite being that can control the outcome of your reality. But again, it's not our fault. There's distractions and we could go down that rabbit hole. But it says to understand one's orlog is to know that from birth to death, every man's life course is weaving around himself, thread by thread, as a spider does his cobweb. Mind you, again, I'll say this real fast as well because we obviously, of course, have a very diversified group of individuals in this community, both men and women. Most of these older books and these books in the past or have any older dialect all refer to he or him or his himself. And the reason for that, of course, is because over the years that these books were written, there was, of course, that dialect and that perspective amongst women and their place in men's lives and this, and that. So a lot of these books, these older ones that we're going to read, you're not really going to see it say them or they or she or her, right? Unless you're learning about, um, a goddess for that matter. Okay. Most of these books were written in the masculine dialect. So just know that, when I'm talking through these books and it's all he and his world and the men and this and that, understand, of course, that this applies for you ladies who are rising with us equally as well, All right. I just wanted to say that because some people try to read these books and assert themselves, and I'm not here to do that. I'm just here to give you guys this knowledge and information. Hopefully you apply it. Know thyself has everything to do with man. See, connecting with his Hamingja, his God self. When the full weave of man's orlog is apperceived, our every action then signals a profound purpose, and we become entwined in a network of our own doing. When a man awakens inwardly in this manner, he breaks the chains of unconscious being and proceeds completely under the empire of this self made destiny. As an embodied soul, man has to find his place in the world among his people and fulfill his active functions. But his primary individual quest is to rise through the five levels of being and manifest his inner Hamingja. All right. So that was just from this one chapter alone. And so that was again just to set the precedence of this book. So now we'll roll over into part two. If you are someone constantly searching for the best books, the rare ones, the ancient ones, the ones that actually change how you think, the Library of Awakening was built for you. Inside CyberX, we've organized a digital collection of over 4,000 powerful and ancient books spanning consciousness, psychology, ancient wisdom, esoteric symbolism, religion, wealth philosophy, global power structures, astrology, symbolism, tarot, sci fi, and alternative history. This isn't a random archive, it's categorized with intention. Inside, you'll find structured sections like the book club for guided study and discussion, the third eye psychology section for deeper perception and awareness, the human psychology and self mastery section for behavioral insight and transformation, even ancient wisdom and esoteric symbolism for decoding hidden teachings. We also have expanded consciousness for higher level thought, religion and spirituality for theological and philosophical study, and elite agendas and global power structures for macro awareness, wealth building and economics for foundational understanding, and even astrology, symbols, tarot, sci fi, and UFO exploration to widen perspectives. Everything inside the private CyberX Discord is organized for serious readers who want depth, not surface level summaries or trending bestsellers pushed by algorithms. If you're tired of reading what everyone else is reading and you're ready to access books that truly expand awareness, challenge assumptions, and sharpen your thinking, this is where you'll find them. Digitized, structured, and studied inside a focused community of thinkers and like minded individuals. So, head over to cyberxtrading.com, try out the CyberX Discord for a month, and unlock the Library of Awakening. Dive into the collection, find the books that you've been searching for, and maybe even some ones you didn't even know existed. Welcome to the journey. May this space inspire you to ask questions, explore the unknown, and most importantly, to awaken. This is the Library of Awakening. I know some of the perspectives that I share may be as challenging for you as they once were for me. But isn't that the beauty of exploration? Every perspective, no matter how unconventional, has something valuable to contribute to it if it's shared. Knowledge is not absolute. It's a living, breathing phenomena, shaped and reshaped over time. The important thing is not always be right, but to always be curious. Explore freely, share boldly, and learn deeply. And don't rely solely on others to validate your discoveries. Stand firm in integrity, even in the face of criticism. Remember that growth always means embracing the humility to admit when we're wrong. Learning from our errors is not a setback, it's the very essence of our progress. So, welcome to the journey. May this space inspire you to ask questions, explore the unknown, and most importantly, to awaken. This is the Library of Awakening.